Hello everyone. So in the last video we worked on our detector app and we implemented the buffering mechanism inside the detector app, and we are also now enqueuing like a list of detections instead of a single detection. But we are still not sending this request to our API. So today we will focus on like having a GMS consumer, a listener, which is going to listen or consume the messages from the queue and send them to the API. Apart from that, we will also fix the broken test which we have right now. And yeah, and that's it. So we can keep focus and we can go back and focus on the rest of the actions or the features required for us to have our detector app production ready. Let's go then. So as I mentioned, the idea for today is this. So handle the batch request in the like this is already done on the API. But now we need to kind of send this and use this API from the detector app. We need to call this API on the detector API itself. So if you remember, let's check our fake detector class. And here we are doing the buffering, and then from the buffering we are also calling the onEvents method. Yeah, good. So let's do it. So now if we think about it, like how the process is being done right now, we have the generator which generates events, right? And we buffer them. So we buffer them and then we process them. So processing now can be understood in two ways. So we have like the stateless and the stateful. The stateless and the stateful mechanism. The stateful will enqueue, and stateless will call API. So that's basically the idea, right? So when we have stateless, it's fine. It will call the API. That's it. But when it's stateful, it's going to enqueue. So we need to dequeue this from another process. We need another step to basically come and say, hey, when the message is enqueued, I need to process it later or at some point, right? Process enqueued messages. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So I will create a new class here in service detection called um, let me think, enqueued detection processor job or processor job. So this is going to be a service, and very important, we just want to run or to create this job only when we are in on the stateless mechanism, right? On the stateful mode. Sorry. So when we come here, that's basically what we need to copy. We need to copy here and say, hey, when we have the equipment mode on stateful mode, then I'm going to create this, going to like instantiate this object. So what we are going to do here is to have method process, which will receive what. So if you go and see our repository here, we are enqueuing an object of type detection batch registration. And that's exactly what we are going to do. But before just copying this, let's do some refactoring, right? Because now all this class, those records here, they are inside the repository, external repository, which doesn't make much sense for us. So let's move them to our domain. So let's have our detection or even domain. Let's have this inside contracts, or let me think about it. So we have this on the let's have them on the domain itself. They will be part of our domain definition right now. So we call them detection. So we already have, let me think, what kind of objects do we have on the domain? We have the detection equipment and lane. Okay, so let me think a bit. We could be doing right now, maybe instead of having this registration, because registration is not important anymore. Yeah, it will be important for the API. So let me do the following. Let me have this inside. Yeah, let's copy this for the domain right now. Detection batch registration. And what else? The detection registration itself. Let's also create this. We will create this here inside. So public static record Let me copy everything. So this one here is going to be copied and pasted. So registration, and also here the detection batch registration. Here, all fine. Let's just import the list. Great. Oh, by the way, we need a static here. Fine. Now let's remove it. Let's do some re-import, detection registration, and it's over here. Same. And by the way, we can also do some cleanup, right? So we are not using this. We are not doing the registration initially, or are we? Let me think. Are we handling it? We are not handling this on event anymore, so we can already do a cleanup. In the future, if we want to say, hey, I want to have the possibility to process only one event at a time in a more like real time, then we can change it. We can roll it back. We can get the code back, right? But now we don't really need it, so let's do some cleanup. Okay, so remove from the repository. We remove from here as well, from detection processor. So let's go to the processor, remove the on event. That's not needed anymore. Let's see the other implementations which we have here. It's also not needed anymore. Same here. On event is going to change on events. That's something, by the way, that's a task which is most probably breaking right now because we're not calling on events. Then return list of detection. And here is on events. Good. What else? Let's clean up, remove like some imports. What else? Repository. Let's see if we have any implementation which we have to. Yeah, the queue for sure. Remove here the register method. Also here we have to fix the import again. Oh, that's already. Okay. What else? Yeah, and now let's process. So when going back now, so just let's recap. So we are basically in queuing an event, a message of type detection batch registration. So we are basically also going to have this here. So batch registration, and this we will call this from using GMS listener. And here we basically have to define the destination, where we are going to listen, or like where this message are going to come from. So it's from this destination. We can later like change this and have this inside the configuration itself. But for now, let's just keep it like this. So we have this, and now we can come here and do a system out print ln, and we just print it. Okay, all fine. And I would just want to make it to show you one thing, so how this will work. So how, like in general, how it will work, and I'll prove it how it works, that it works like this. So the GMS listener is going to basically listen to the message broker, to in this case to this Artemis. For every time there is a new message and we pop or we pull, like we read this message from the queue, we dequeue this. We parse, we serialize, so we have the object here, and if this method runs successfully or without throwing an exception, then the message is removed from the queue. But let's say we do some processing here, and this processing throws an exception, and then this message is basically going to stay in the queue for like later processing. That's something for you to keep in mind. So I will show you how this works, okay? And then we have our discussions about letter processing and everything, but that's not something which we are going to do right now. So for now, we just want to see this running, right? And let me see. I think we need to run the Docker compose. So we need to run Artemis. Let's see. Monitoring. Let's log in. Okay, so queue is here, but no producer. Now let's come and run our application. So API is already running, and let's go and run the app itself. Oh, something is not compiling here. Yeah, detector hints, runtime hints. We forgot to change it. Okay, what's the problem right now? Wait. It basically cannot serialize. It seems like cannot convert GMS. Oh, this is on the listener. Okay, yeah, most probably because since we changed the whole class and everything, this is just like not recognizing the message that we have persisted before. Which is a bit strange to be honest, but I think it's just that I haven't set any serial ID for that, which is ideal also when you create a class where you have serializable. It's ideal for you to also have the serial ID defined. Yeah, that's bad. But anyways, let's do the following. The quick fix here for us. Let's do the following. Let's just come here and come to the queue and delete our queue. Let's create new queue for that. Let's start from scratch. So batch registrations. Let's kill everything. I will kill this one. So delete address. I'm not sure if this is going to wait. Kill. Yeah. Oh, let me think. So Artemis, then we go to kills, and oh, the operations are already here. So we can most probably delete or drop or do something, remove all yeah, let's just remove all the messages. Remove all messages, execute. Okay, perfect. So let me see. This is the one we are using, I guess, right? Detection batch registration. No, the registrations batch. Yeah, registration batch. This one. So oh, by the way, it's 0 already. Interesting. Okay, so that's the place where we are consuming. Let's run it again. And yeah, so we are queuing the messages, but at the same time you see that the message counts is not increasing. Why not? I will show you. Let me debug, because it's, yeah, most probably it's, I forgot to look at the logs. But it's most probably coming here, and it's already processing them because we are not throwing any exception. So if I come here, you see that the message count is increasing from time to time, because we are buffering them. They should be increasing. So let's see, true message counts. It should come more. We are increasing. We are running them for. Well, it's not. Did we like? Okay, let me see if the breakpoint is. Let me do the following. Yeah, let me stop and remove this listener here for now. Let me just comment it, and let's run. Let's see if we are properly queuing the messages again. So one message, 3 messages. Yeah, so we are basically queuing the message. That's totally fine. And now I will show you about this the queuing the messages. So I will uncomment the GMS listener. And then here I have the breakpoint, and then I will run the application, debug. And then you see here we have 5, right? Now I will like resume the program, so it will like finish the processing of this event. It goes to the next one. And you see that the message count reduced to 1. So it was 5, now it's 4, 5, now it's 4, right? So if I do it again, now it's 3. Great, but what happens if after this I throw an exception? So, or not I throw exception, but let's say this processing logic throws an exception. Error. Let's run it again. Let's see. So we have 3 message count. Now I will come here and run the print. Oh, good. We still have 3. And now if I run it again, we already get another message, most probably it's the same, and you see that the message count didn't reduce. So the message was not really dequeued and removed from the queue, so the message is still there. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that how it works, so you can be safe. You just need to be sure that you are not swallowing any exception, if there is an exception and you want this message to be processed or reprocessed. Okay, okay, so that's basically important thing that we have to do. Apart from that, I also want to go and to run the test and see if everything is working fine. So app, and let's run Gradle test, and we should have tests that's failing. Okay, now we have a problem on this. Let's just look for this, for the reference of this object here. Yeah, registration, great. So let's run the test again. So there are two tests failing. Let's see. First one is this. So it's basically, yeah, it's complaining. Let's show you. Let me show you. So what we were doing here, we were creating a registration, and we were expecting that the endpoint v1, which was responsible to register only one detection, this was running fine. So we can come here and change this to detection true. And now we change also the type, right? It's not a detection registration anymore, but it's a detection registration batch. So we come here and do this, plus list of this. So we are going to change the object that we're sending now. That's a batch now, right? So we change this, so we change the expectation, we change the path. Let's run it. Oh, sorry, not this. Let's run the test. Or we can just run this one, but let's run everything. So we have the full report. Okay, so the tests are still failing, and I will tell you why. So now there's another problem. We changed what should be working, but remember that now we are enqueuing the message, right? We are not sending the message directly. So there are two things which we can do. One thing, which that's exactly what I'm going to do. So one thing is we can have some kind of a timer or like a waiting time, where we say, hey, I want to give some time for this message to be dequeued and processed and sent to the API before validating if this happened. But that's not, remember about refactoring that we did in some of the previous videos. We want to have our tests as safe as possible. We don't want to rely on waiting or about something, or like have a timeout or something like that, even though we already have it, right? But that's for disposables, that's a different thing. We don't want to rely on like, is the message processed, is the message not processed, or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to the name of the class to detector or stateless detector-app application tests. And here I'm going to change the configuration of our application. So here, the default application, we have this application YAML, right? I think in one video, like previous video, I tried to add the application YAML on the resources test, which didn't work, and I found the reason, and I'm showing you that's a very like simple thing. So let me create a new directory called resources inside tests. I will copy this application YAML and paste it here. And the problem is the format or the file name should be application.yaml without a. So, and then Spring can recognize it. So in the test. So I will come here first thing in the resources and remove the main allow bean definition. This is in the resource, not on the test, because that's something that we had to do for testing, to override some beans. And now on the test application YAML on the resource test, which we have here, I will keep it because we need it for the test, and I will change that here to stateless, and that's it. So now if I run the test again, I should expect this test to pass, because now we are not running this in the stateful mode, but we are running on the stateless mode. Let's see. Yeah, now we see that only one test is failing. So when I come and I see that's another thing, so let's go and check, should throw an error doing processing but keep running. So most probably I already know what's the issue here. So let's check. Remember what we were doing before? We were generating events. So we have the generation, which is like our fake generation here, which is like we are basically generating 3 events, static events, only 3. And we were sending them every time we had one detection, we were calling this on event. So we were handling one event individually, right? What are we doing right now? We are having the fake detector, which is buffering them into 10 events or 1 minute. So there are 2 things we can, one important thing which we have to do right now is we have to fix the test. And very easy thing for us to do is to say, instead of generating 3 events, because we're expecting this on events to be called 3 times, we have to make the buffer happen 3 times. Since we're buffering from 10 to 10, we need to generate at least 21 events, right? So the first 10 is going to become a buffer of 10. Second, from the 11, we are going to have the second batch. After 21st, we also have the third batch. So that's something which we can do. And let's do it. So let's come here and say flux. There's a way for us to do it. Flux range. So we start from 0 until, let's say 20, let's say 30. And so this will generate a flux of like integer, and we don't care about the integer, about the value. We will just repeat this 30 times, returning the detection. So we have 30 times the same detection. And then if I come here and run the application right now, it should expect to call this on events 3 times, because we buffered those events 3 times. And that's it. But there's a better way for us to do it, because now you know that this logic, the test shows us a lot, right? That's something which I have mentioned in previous videos. When we are testing our code, we know like some problems, we detect a lot of problems in the code. And one of them is this is a static here, and that's very bad. We have no way for us to kind of make the logic a bit more flexible, and this makes our life why we're testing harder. And so one thing which we can do here, I will create on the detector itself. Maybe we can have like a record here. I'm not sure if we can record a record. Let me check. I'm not sure. Record detect. Yeah, we can. Oh wait, detector detection buffer spec or config spec. And then here, what do I need to do is that I need to have a max size. Var max size, or not var, integer max size, and then I have the duration. Okay, yeah, I can have this detection buffer spec, and I will just accept this here inside. So we have the final spec, buffer spec. I also have this in here. So private final, yeah, final was already there. Buffer spec, and then I'm going to use it here. So buffer spec dot max size and buffer spec duration. Great, and now we can have it like more easier to configure. Here we can get it from the properties, right? But I'm not caring much about that right now. If you want, you can surely do this on your side. But from my side, I really don't care that much now. So wait, no, not here, not here. Now I have my new detector buffer spec, and I will run here as before, 10 or of seconds or 1 minute. I don't remember how is that anymore. I think of minutes. Of minutes, 1 minute. Yeah. So and now it's easier for us because in our test we don't need to run to necessarily create 30, right? So I can just keep as what we had before as 3, and here I'm going to provide a spec. So detection spec, buffer spec of 1, or duration of yeah, minute one, whatever. So one by one, and now it should just run fine. What's the problem here? Oh yeah, I need to provide the same, so, or something similar. Okay, let's run and see if it works now. Yeah, great. Let's run all our tests right now and see if everything's green. Then we are good to go. We are good to end and then go to the next one. Yeah, everything looks great. It looks green. Great. So that was it for today. So next video, what we are going to do is we are going to change. So if you go here to our production ready definition, the next thing is we have to now do some change on the API and also on the app to have the data compression. So now we are sending like a list of 10, but ideally we may have like, we may be buffering this for I don't know, 100 or 1000 or even more, right? And we don't want to have this when we have this like 1000 of messages of detections compressed. It's much better for us to send this data through internet, and we use better the networking. So next class, that's what we're going to be doing on the video. So we will be doing the change on the API itself to handle this compressed request, and then also applying the compression on the detector app side. That's it. So I hope you liked it, and yeah, so if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do it. Share with your friends also, and hope you had fun with that. You learned something, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.